welcome. I forgot it turns my mic off right away like that. I was sitting here listening to the podcast. I found Tony Simon's podcast on YouTube. I think I figured out what my problem was. It was my problem. Anyway, I found his podcast over on YouTube this morning, and I was sitting here listening to it and about to roll up my sleeves and work on some projects, and figured why not just go live and listen to the podcast, rebroadcast it over here. And it's not really simulcasting it because it just barely got launched, but definitely let people know this is where you find it at his YouTube channel. Tony does the podcast. He's done 78 episodes now on Spreaker, which is why I know he's done it on that platform, and I never even really was thinking about it on YouTube, I guess. And I was looking back, and I think it's my own darn fault. I thought he was doing just videos on YouTube. I didn't realize these were the podcasts. So anyway, my bad. And I'm listening to the podcast now. I hope I'm not corking anybody, Kingpins out there. Let me know if I'm corking anybody, because that's not my intention. But I am working on some projects over here, and I'm listening to Tony. So that's all I'm here for. Let's go ahead and let me know if you can hear it, but I'm going to turn it up on the other machine over here. Get my mouse to work.
Welcome to the podcast, episode 78, Join the Resistance. People have been asking, am I back? I'm starting to think, yeah, I'm back. Welcome to the Second is for Everyone podcast. I haven't been talking to you guys since the November election, and there are lots of reasons why. One of them is frustration at a lot of things, not the election, but people's reaction to the election. A lot of pro-gun people were really nasty to anyone who wasn't pro-gun and voted for Donald Trump. If you voted third party, you somehow were a traitor. If you voted for Biden, not only were you a traitor, you probably suffer from brain damage. I don't think that helps if you vote for Biden and you're pro-gun, because, well, really, he's not. He's proven it, and he has a track record that he's proven it. But everyone doesn't have the same priorities when it comes to the Second Amendment as I do. I see the Second Amendment as a civil right, just like the freedom of speech, the freedom to assemble and practice your religion. All of that, to me, is a civil right that shouldn't be given up and shouldn't be compromised on. But I will not attack someone over that. I will not attack someone because they don't agree 100% with me. Sooner or later, either they will or they won't. But what we have noticed in 2020 is a lot of people that were anti-gun or on the fence ran out and purchased a gun when times got hard. Oh, by the way, Happy New Year, everyone. 2021 is here. Nothing changed at midnight. Your government is still overreaching in many districts and locales and states and counties. They're still keeping businesses closed. The fight for your Second Amendment right is still going on. The ATF is still trying to get rid of pistol braces, they sent a letter for clarification about pistol braces. They still went to Polymer 80 and shut down them from sending all the parts to build a gun in one box. That has really happened. Nothing has changed. The ATF is still doing ATF stuff. Tomorrow, January 4th, is the last day you can send a letter about the ATF to the federal, to the Fed. I had it up on my page for a while. I took it down. Send a letter. Participate. The name of this episode is Join the Resistance. The time for sitting on your butt and doing nothing is gone. The time for you thinking someone else is going to do it is gone. I'm sitting here watching people get upset because they purchased Black Rifle Coffee, and Black Rifle Coffee didn't endorse a picture that was taking of geez, wow, why did the Kenosha kid
We're all over
Kyle
saying Kyle.
Rittenhouse? He had a Black Rifle Coffee shirt on. Black Rifle Coffee tried to distance themselves away because someone put one of their discount codes picture as if Kyle Rittenhouse was somehow sponsored by Black Rifle Coffee. In their distancing from that situation, they really showed their true colors, in my opinion, because it's not that they didn't support something that truly, in some form, is controversial. Again, even I posted about how I think Kyle Rittenhouse should not have been where he was, but more than likely, when I was his age, so probably a few years ago, I would have done the exact same thing Kyle Rittenhouse did. But now, older, more hopefully wiser, I would step back from that. But what Black Rifle Coffee did was go beyond that and make other statements about how they don't support anything. Meanwhile, any political stance or cause, however the heck they put it, what they said was contradictory to actions they took maybe 4 or 5 social media posts earlier. So my thing is, if you support the Second Amendment, actually support Second Amendment groups. Don't support something because you think they're pro Second Amendment. Like, if the reason you bought Black Rifle Coffee is because you felt Matt Best and his partners were pro 2A, then you should just buy regular dang coffee and spend that difference on Firearms Policy Coalition, the National Rifle Association's Institute for Legislative Action, people that actually do work, CNJFO, send money to Maj Toure, Kevin Dixie, myself, people that actually put in 2A work. Do not depend on celebrities and businesses, regardless if they're firearms businesses, firearms accessories, or firearms related. Do not assume these people are pro 2A. They may just be business people and they'll do whatever it is they need to do to maintain their businesses. They don't want to take a hit. They don't want to offend somebody. And some of them just really, they have no moral ground. They really have no morals. They possess none. They just do what they have to do. Hey, that's up to you. If that's your corporate culture, just to do it for the dollar, then that's your corporate culture. It's just not a culture I have to support. All right, so let me see. We talked about Kyle Rittenhouse, Black Rifle Coffee, talked about the braces, Polymer 80. Oh, well, I don't want to, it's too late. I'm kind of rambling because I'm bouncing between things that bothered me between November and December and our reaction as an industry, as a community, and as a culture. I've watched a bunch of YouTubers all of a sudden want to be political. It's funny because I've been watching YouTube since when? 2010, maybe earlier. I don't know. And I've been following a lot of these people, and I have a channel for years. And many of your pro-gun guys who are now all of a sudden pro-gun and making an effort to be part of 2A advocacy. What took you so long, Chief? What took them so long? Because before the word was they didn't want to get involved in 2A advocacy because they were worried about losing viewers. Now all of a sudden it's cool. From the Obama administration to even this administration and some of the silly things Trump has said, I don't like suppressors, and guns first and then due process. They didn't say anything through all that. But now they're woke. Okay, welcome to the party, pal. Put in some work. Stop running around using hyperbole. Like, oh my God, Polymer 80 got raided. Polymer 80 had some people show up and a letter presented to them. They didn't get shut down. oh, they sent someone to someone's house and they seized this guy's polymer. It's been over a month and no one knows the name of this person who had their gun seized at all because it came from a socials. Said on social media their guns were seized. Get the flock out of here. The sky isn't falling all the time. We have over 5 million gun owners out there that may be in some of these groups, may be watching some of these videos, and may be discovering a lot of these all of a sudden, these suddenly 2A advocates that are YouTubers that are using hyperbole and shock value to get you to watch their videos, and what they're saying isn't true. I've been listening to people scream about Biden and the ATF and all. You know, Biden's not the president, right? The ATF still falls under the executive branch. Trump still runs the executive branch. The ATF is not a rogue. If Trump wanted to control the ATF, Trump could actually have somebody appointed as the head of the ATF or replace the temporary head they have now. The lady who's running the ATF is not permanent there. So again, stop buying into the hyperbole. Trump is still president and he's doing nothing about the ATF and their silly latest overreach. You want to make a difference. You have to join the resistance. You have to use some wisdom. You have to not be just a headline reader. You're not supposed to panic and scream the sky is falling every time there's an announcement. Why? Because what happens is the 5 million new gun owners who are listening to you panic but not seeing anything actually happen are going to stop believing you because you become Chicken Little, always screaming the sky is falling. All right, we'll get into the show. I'll talk to you later. Hey, welcome back. We're in the legislation in episode 78, Join the Resistance. Right now, I'm going to talk to you about the Federal Register and the comment section you can leave about the braces and the ATF. By the time you hear this is all over and done with, or today's the last day that you can send a letter. Yeah, because right now I'm looking at it. I have the page. They have 73,536 public comments. Now, what was it, a week ago or 2 weeks ago? They had 44,000 comments. So people are out there and people are making comments. This is part of your duty as a citizen, I feel, is when you see some legislation coming down or something that's happening that you don't agree with, stand up, be heard. These are individual letters. These are supposed to be individuals. This is not cut and paste. This is how people feel. And most people aren't down with what's going on. Now, some are confused, like what's going on? What is the ATF making illegal? The ATF, according to some, is just clarifying what's legal and what's not legal when it comes to pistol braces. Let's be truthful. It's about AR-15 pistols and the fact that people are using them as short barrel rifles. and that's what they even advertising to the point of, and this is accessory makers advertising, this is almost as a rifle. And they're upset about it because the ATF wants you to actually register your short barrel rifles. And this is a way the ATF is willing to allow you to register your AR-15 pistol with a brace as an SBR without charging you $200. Some people are like, oh, that's a good thing. It amazes me the number of people that think somehow any of this is a good thing. It's not. There are a number of people out there that don't live in states where everything is a trap. See, I live in New Jersey, where we're used to being kicked in the jimmy over everything firearms related. We know they would ban everything we own and everything we do and seize it and come to our house and take it if they can, because we don't have a Second Amendment in this state. The ATF is not a pro-gun organization. They are not apolitical. Here's the thing. The ATF with the pistol brace have gone from, look, you put a pistol brace on your thing, we approve the pistol brace. If you misuse the pistol brace by sticking it to your shoulder and shoot it, that does not redesign the firearm. That does not change what it is. They've gone from that to now talking about intent. No, it's still a pistol. That's still a brace. To purchase the pistol, I still had to go through the same background check as I would to get a short barrel rifle or a short barrel shotgun or any other weapon. So what's one more background check doing except getting my gun registered? Stop believing the silly crap that they're here to help. They are not here to help. There is no one in the government that really gives, okay, I'm sorry, I made a totally, I had to stop myself. I hate making statements that are just like over the top and absolute. So when I said there's no one in the government, I told him that there's no one in the government that wants you to have your Second Amendment rights, dude. Let me explain. My stance on Second Amendment is this. Hey, I just bought a belt fit and Amazon dropped it off on my front porch. That's what I'm good with. There's very few people in the government that agree with that at all. And they definitely don't work for the ATF. This is about setting us up to have them be able to dictate to us, because as you read this letter, you find out, well, they want to be able to say what accessories you can have on a pistol with a brace. They want to say what caliber you can have a pistol with a brace, but they leave it vague. They don't say what caliber it will be. They don't, they want to limit the amount of rounds in your magazine if you're using a pistol with a brace. Because with a certain amount, with a certain capacity magazine, it's too heavy to use with one arm. They keep it vague, but they don't tell you what it is. I live in Jersey. Vagueness means they're going to enforce it however they want to enforce it. They will use vagueness to intimidate you. It's not all good. Everything they want is a no. That's what this should be. Anything they want, the answer is no, because it's this simple. The reason I have a pistol brace is because you charge a $200 tax stamp. $200 tax stamp, another background check, and now I can't cross state lines to go from one state to the other without getting permission, or at least letting the ATF know that I'll be going from New Jersey to Pennsylvania with my short barrel rifle. That's why I don't want to do it. Hold on a second. But here's something else. Because I live in New Jersey doesn't allow me to own a short barrel rifle anyway. I can't even have an AR pistol in New Jersey unless it weighs less than 52 ounces and it doesn't have a hand guard or any way to hold it. So the barrel has to be bare. So see, I can't have any of that. But what I can have is a short barrel firearm, which is a conglomeration of something like an AR-15. SBF is actually a gun that Modern Material makes here in Jersey. Troy, they also make one, and pretty much is an AR pistol. It has a pistol brace, has a barrel length of between 12 and a half inches, and has a vertical foregrip because it is not a pistol, it is not a rifle, it is somewhere in between, and is not any other weapon. See, that's the only thing I can legally have in this state that comes kind of close to that. Now, I don't own or that or anything else. Matter of fact, yesterday I just got two pistol braces to give away. I got them in. just to give them a way to push back against this ridiculous proposed letter. Join the resistance, fight all of these people. Do not allow them to have anything. This, an AR pistol, is exactly that, an AR pistol, regardless how I use the gun. If you got a revolver and set the revolver on top of your head, and that's how you shot your revolver while it's sitting on top of your head, it doesn't make it a hat. This is ridiculous. The reason you have, the many people have a brace, many people, not handicapped people who have the brace for the purpose, they have it because it allows the firearm to be more maneuverable. It allows the firearm to be less weight because, again, it has less barrel. It helps when you're fighting inside a house or if you're going to use it as a defensive tool. It takes up less room as a truck gun. And you know what else it does? Looks freaking cool. A lot of these builds with the short barrels look cool. Now, you're trying to make that into something illegal for no other purpose than short barrel rifles is illegal. And this is being used as a short barrel rifle, so this should be illegal too. No, this is really a bad version of a short barrel rifle. That stock on your AR pistol or SBF isn't as sturdy as a stock. To say it's the same thing is to say walking on crutches is just as good as walking on your legs. No, it's not. I'd rather have not a broken leg and walk on 2 feet. The brace is a crutch. The brace does not make this a rifle. It's not as effective. A short barrel, an AR pistol with a brace is not as effective as a short barrel rifle that's an AR. Nothing about it changed. And what they're trying to do is dictate which accessories you can use, what your round capacity could be, and probably even the fact that you can use it with one hand. You have to use it with 2 hands, or you can use it with 2 hands. Do not trust the government to help you out when it comes to your Second Amendment rights. All right, I'm rambling. I hope I made my point. Talk to you in the next section. This is the end of legislation. Hey, join the resistance. Welcome back, episode 78. This is Join the Resistance, and we're into the Mad Minute. Let's talk about something that's happening right now online or just any purchase. Ammo is very expensive. Firearms are very expensive. I just got off of Guns America looking at Glock 19s, Gen 3s, and they're around $600, which is insane because last year, this time, those same firearms were $300. So the price has gone up because demand has gone up. That's fine. Companies can usually charge what they want within reason. And then there's cheaper than dirt. If you don't know who Cheaper Than Dirt is based in Texas. They sell things online. I first discovered them, 10 years ago, maybe more. And they had some really good prices on things until you got to the part about shipping. And that's when they would hit you with steep shipping costs. So I never purchased anything from them because I just didn't. I'd rather spend $100 with someone else and get free shipping than spend, let's say, $70 on a product and $30 on shipping from Cheaper Than Dirt. I mean, it was just some ridiculous thing. So I never bought from them. Then 2012 and Sandy Hook happened. And that was the first time I noticed Cheaper Than Dirt did dirt. A friend of mine had a large order with Cheaper Than Dirt. When he buys accessories, ammo, he makes large orders. And as part of the large order of ammo he bought, he also purchased 10 Magpul magazines for $99. It was a package deal. a package of 10 Magpul mags, 99. Sandy Hook happened. All of a sudden, people were wondering what was going to happen, what new legislation was going to come down the pike. Almost immediately, Cheaper Than Dirt jacked their prices up. They sent my friend an email saying that the stuff that he had on back order was no longer available. Here's your money back. 2 minutes later, an email came through saying, hey, we have Magpul P mags on sale for $900 for 10 magazines. Now, how did 2 minutes earlier you didn't have the 10 mags for $99, but now you have those same magazines for $900? It was that kind of scumbaggery that turned me against Cheaper Than Dirt. Cheaper Than Dirt pulled all of their ARs and all their semi-automatic rifles at that time after Sandy Hook, and then jacked up the prices through the roof. Well, they're at it again. And this time, the Texas Attorney General did something about it. Texas Attorney, people say, well, can a company take advantage of, supply and demand and charge what they want? Well, yeah, in most cases. But in this case, the Attorney General agreed that the price hikes on ammo identified as a necessity by the state violated Texas Business and Commerce Code, which is partly designed to protect consumers during emergency and disaster situations. They jacked their price up so ridiculously high to like $1.30 a round for some of the cheapest self-defense ammo out there. Something that was like, here's a price right here. $50 a box for Winchester white box, 9mm, 124 grain NATO. It's a 50 round box, right? They charge $64.89. That's $1.30 a round for full metal jacket training ammo. That's over $1 a round more expensive than it was before. It's not like that on anybody else's site, only on Cheaper Than Dirt. Well, people go, well, you can buy what you want. If it's not on anyone else's site and they're the only one that have it, no, they're gouging. If it's on everyone else's site for, let's say, everyone else's website for $1 a round, let's say the price has gone up threefold because of availability. Now they're charging $1.30 a round. You have no choice but to buy theirs. Yes, they're gouging. Whatever, dude. You can buy from who you want, but understand every company that's in the firearms industry is not pro 2A. They're not about getting this ammo into people's hands that need them. People who purchase guns and don't have ammo to actually practice and train to defend their lives. They'd rather go for the dollars. And I'm sorry, but throughout American history, we've done something about that. We've done it in wartime, and we've done it during emergencies, from tornadoes to hurricanes to just anything else. If you get caught price gouging, we have consumer protections in effect that handles that. Do I say do a cancel culture on Cheaper Than Dirt and never buy anything from them again and just get rid of them? I've never bought anything from them in the first place. I can't call for you to boycott something that you may or may not use. But understand, giving scumbags your money, knowingly giving scumbags your money, that's up to you. You don't have to give them your money. Stop waiting for other people to do things and do it yourself. If you think what they're doing is wrong, don't ever give them your money. Tell your friends, hey, this is what these people do. What you do is up to you. I won't purchase Springfield Armory products. Why? Because I feel that when they tried to cut a deal behind the backs of other firearms licensed dealers in Illinois a few years ago and get a workaround why everyone else would have had to deal with gun control, but they would have gotten a buy, I think that was a scumbag move. I don't want to have anything to do with them or Rock River, because Rock River was in with it. Surefire donated $10,000 to Senator Dianne Feinstein's campaign. I'm not giving Surefire any of my money. If you ask, I will tell you why I won't give Surefire my money, or Springfield Armory my money, or Cheaper Than Dirt my money. You do what you want to. All right, that was Mad Minute. Some companies suck. You can give them your money or not, and sometimes they have to pay for it. These guys are going to have to cut a $400,000 check to multiple customers for price gouging. Oh, by the way, they charge $3,000 for a Scorpion Evo on Cheaper Than Dirt. That's a sub $1,000 gun. But hey, they can do what they want, right? All right, guys. See you in the next segment. Welcome back. We're about to go into gear horror. And what better gun to talk about in gear horror, especially a gear horror named Join the Resistance, than a firearm that we all saw in Red Dawn. I'm talking about the CZ75 Freebie model. This was actually a gun run by airborne officer, Soviet airborne officer. You can see it in the beginning. Cool pistol. I actually have two of them. I picked them up as trade-in, police trade-ins from Israel. So for a long time, I thought this was a first model, and then I was checking some stuff out and realized it isn't. This is actually pre-Bs. And another reason I'm talking about it in this episode is because it's a police trade-in. Right now, it's the first week of 2021, but pretty much throughout 2020, it's been hard to get a hold of guns, especially new manufactured firearms, because everyone's buying a gun. Here's the bad thing about everyone's buying a gun and ammo, the ammunition shortage. Through both those things together, we've been having recalls with some manufacturers because quality control has dropped because they're sending out everything they produce. If you have lines running, assembly lines running, manufacturing running, and you don't build every part to your firearm, you may have some vendors, outside vendors that provide parts for you that are subpar. That's what happened with Smith & Wesson when they just had their recall on their M&P Shield EZs. They had a recall because the hammers were cracking. The cool thing about police trade-ins, older firearms that happened before this rush, is you don't have that quality control problem, especially when you go with something that's classic, like this CZ75, this Freebie CZ75. All right, what is a CZ75 Freebie model? Or let's just roll with CZ75s. CZ75s were developed in Czechoslovakia. They are a combination, or have features that are a combination of two really great combat pistols, classic combat pistols. One is the high power from Browning, which was adopted in 1935 and was used by nations all across the world. It was actually used by both sides during the Second World War, and that was from 1935. And then another handgun that it takes from is the SIG P210 semi-automatic 9mm pistol, and that was actually developed for the Swiss military, and it has the honor of being probably one of the most expensive, well-made military issue handguns ever. So what the Czechs did is they have these two features incorporated. One of the features incorporated in this is how the slide itself, the part that moves back and forth on the top of the gun, isn't on the outside, it's incorporated on the inside of the frame. Maybe I'm getting into the weeds, but when it's incorporated on the inside of the frame, the entire slide comes in contact with the lower part of the pistol. So it's inherently more accurate than other handguns. And it has the Browning locking system. So it's that classic system that worked in the Browning since 1935. So it's a very accurate handgun. I actually took my pistol out to a Rob Pincus class, and I think we ran 250, 300 rounds through it that day. Well, I think it was supposed to be a 500 round count day. We got close, but we didn't get all the way to 500 rounds that day. Had a lot of fun shooting it. It did some weird thing where it didn't eject once, but that was the only problem I had with it. This particular firearm is double action. You load the magazine, you insert it, you rack the slide. Here's the crazy thing. The hammer stays back like a Browning high power, like a Colt 1911, which are all single action. And then you, boom, flip the switch up, the safety, and you can carry it cocked and locked. That means all you have to do is take the safety off, and you have a really comparatively light trigger pull, unlike double action guns, which when you pull a double action trigger, you're all cocking the hammer back. So you're pulling the hammer back and releasing the hammer with that single trigger pull. With a single action trigger pull, the hammer is already back. And when you take the safety off, all you have is a lighter trigger pull because you're only initiating one action, which is releasing the hammer. I hope that helped out if no one knows what I'm talking about. But that's the cool thing about this pistol. Very good inherent accuracy. Now, to put it in double action mode, you have to do something that today is looked at as very dangerous and unsafe. But that was the way the guns ran back then, is you take the safety off on a loaded gun that has the hammer cocked back, and then you hook your finger on the hammer and pull the trigger while lowering the hammer. Me personally, I put my finger between the hammer and the back of the gun, and when I pull the trigger, I can just slide my finger out after the hammer hits it. It loses all inertia, and now I have a loaded gun. There's double action, and I don't have to run the safety. This is older. Would I recommend it? Yeah, it's still a duty pistol. It's just that's how the duty pistol back then worked. Carry it cocked and locked. If you don't feel comfortable cocked and locked, well, that's the way you do it. If you don't want to do it that way, don't get this gun. There are other guns out there. But what I like about this is classic. Is an Israeli trade-in, police trade-in. I like surplus guns because they have a story. That someone depended on this gun for a really long time. One of the ones I have was actually made in I think it was 89. And it served. It served its country. I don't care about your politics, so I don't even want to hear it. But it served. Which year? Because I'm having this one right here. 1987. So I have one from 1987, one from 1990. Fun pistols, very ergonomic pistols, easy to shoot. Did not cost a lot of money at the time. I picked this up maybe 3 or 4 years ago for like $230. Heck of a deal. Really enjoy shooting these, and I would recommend them if you can't find something else or you want a bedside pistol. It's a little heavy because it's an all-metal pistol, so it's a little heavy compared to a polymer handgun, but it still works. It does everything it's supposed to do. It has old school fixed military sights and very, very accurate handgun. I like shooting small groups. It's relaxing to me. I get them down and I want to see how tight I can shoot a group. At 25 yards, I've stacked all of these into the 10 ring, 5-round groups, just bang, 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 and they overlap. They cloverleaf. I can't believe how accurate this firearm is. And again, old school magazines, you have to be careful with the magazines because they don't take the same magazines as current CZ75s. You have to be careful. You have to make sure the mags you get actually run in this, but they're still available. And again, this is a Soviet era pistol, a Warsaw Pact era pistol, still works. And I can't recommend them enough just for the fun factor. So if you want to check out something unique and you see one out there, pick it up. Some people were just picking up anything. I say you pick up the older pistols because of the quality. There wasn't a rush on them to get made. CZs are well known for their quality. And again, just a fun gun. CZ75 Pre-B. Fun gun to shoot. Only pain in the butt for me is I live in Jersey, so I had to get rid of my magazines that came with it. So right now I'm looking for 10 rounders. I really didn't want to take my original magazines. Listen, when Sanity comes back or when the state finally loses their lawsuit over the unconstitutionality of magazine limitations, I'll get my mags back. I'll have them mailed back to me. But until then, these are just a fun gun for me to practice my double action trigger pull. Because if you can shoot double action, you can shoot anything else. So I practice with these a lot by just getting my trigger pull down without moving my front sights. I use this as a training gun when I dry fire it. Fun gun, can't recommend it enough. CZ75 Pre-B is the gun from Gear Horror. All right, talk to you soon. Welcome to episode 78. We're going into gun culture right now. My mind is blown. Got really busy this week and could not complete the entire episode in one take. So it's a couple of days later. It is now after January 6th, when the world just went all cattywampus on us. And well, a bunch of Trump supporters ran up in the Senate. Someone was killed. Supposedly, police officers were hurt. Really vague, questionable, weird stuff has happened. Which is, breaking news. YouTubers were falling all over themselves, report stuff. They were showing live feeds from people's social media. And then, of course, the media was just spinning. Hey, got a question for you. Anybody else get whiplash watching the left and right change sides immediately? No? People that were screaming that if you have insurance, don't worry about your freaking place being destroyed. And it was okay for people to loot and attack government buildings. That was okay. Watching Democratic leadership run around talking about this nation needs revolution and we need riots in the streets. Did you listen to gun owners talking about those people need to be persecuted, those people need to be shot in the face, and then just watch both of them switch sides when the, political leanings of the protesters switch sides? And they started saying the exact same thing the other side said. And here's the most amazing part to me. The both sides that are screaming at each other were protesting the same government. Mind-blowing, isn't it? It's like somebody telling you the entire movie of Indiana Jones is useless because if Indiana Jones would have just stayed home and got his hair cut, that first movie would have ended the same way regardless of him showing up or not. The same exact thing happened to me as I'm watching people change their position, try to say how they didn't break as much stuff in the Capitol as others, both sides not realizing a third or more party showed up and hijacked their legitimate protest and helped turn it into something so their entire message was lost. Crazy how that worked. So, I have a question. Who do you think was behind it? Think about this. It is the greatest sleight of hand. I've taken a step back because I've been saying for a really long time, and a lot of you have too, that we've been manipulated to be at each other's throats while the people who are doing the most damage to this country, who are robbing us blind, are sitting back counting the money and laughing their butts off. And this whole thing, again, puts the example right out in front of us. And yet, when you point it out, you still get attacked by people from both sides. Oh my goodness, I can't believe you think what they did was okay in the Capitol. Oh, I can't believe you're taking the side of the anarchists. No, I'm taking the side of someone that told you the government is your enemy. And if you knew your history, you know this wouldn't be the first time they did something like this. They've infiltrated organizations for a really, really long time. And I have no idea why you're completely poleaxed by this. The media is hilarious because they seem to forget that they were running around interviewing members of the Democratic Party that were saying this kind of thing is good. And now that very same media is putting up pictures of people going, have you seen this person? They broke into the Capitol building. Let me explain something to you and why I tell you join the resistance. Become part of the movement. Get politically active. This, what you saw was hijinks. The real people were outside. The real people were protesting. And there's always extremists at every protest and opportunists. And there's manipulators. And there are people that want to run a message. What you don't see historically, and I only stumbled across it, is this has happened at protests even during Martin Luther King Jr.'s time. There were looters, there were people taking advantage of stuff, and they were put up to it, some of them by the FBI and other entities. Oh, Tony, you're just stop, just stop. Trump supporters are going to have to eat all of this that just happened in DC, just like everybody that went to a George Floyd rally or a Breonna Taylor protest, a George Floyd protest, even a defund the police protest, and stuff went violent, and all of them had to eat it as if those people were behind it. Trump supporters are going to have to eat this. Nom, 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 nom. People are blaming you for something that you didn't do and you don't support, but they're painting you with that broad brush. Welcome to what lots of other people suffered through all summer long. Reason it annoys me a little bit because my sister was one of the people protesting the murder of George Floyd. But my sister gets called names online because she actually went to the nation's capital and peacefully protested. And she got painted with the same broad brush. Yeah, life's not fair. Now, you want to start thinking before you start calling people names? Because it doesn't feel good when the shoe's on the other foot. I'm sorry if I seem preachy, but this is fresh. And this is kind of one of the reasons I give it like a week or two before I talk about a fresh topic. So if I offended some of you or you feel I'm talking down to you, I do apologize. If you're arguing back with your speakers right now that you're different and this was different, falling for the manipulation. The people have you thinking somehow when you protested the government and government action and the government, what you feel is the government stealing your vote and manipulating the populace, when you're protesting that government in Washington, D.C., these people have got you thinking you're totally different than people this summer that was protesting in Washington, D.C., the very same government and the government overreach. The very same thing, and they have you thinking you're diametrically opposed to each other when you both are complaining about the same government. That's how they've gotten into your head and have you thinking you're on separate teams. Democrat, Republican, same blood-sucking politicians that have stolen your money, that put together a stimulus bill and send hundreds of millions of dollars to other countries that eventually trickle back to them and then give you $600 and say, go buy something from the dollar store. They're the same political parties that want to maintain the status quo. They don't want anything to change. 17 years I've worked, not 17, I'm sorry, 15 years I've worked in polling places. And I can tell you right now, everything is not on the up and up when you vote. A lot of stuff is questionable, and things they can put in place, like something as simple as requiring identification to vote. Oh, that's putting a financial burden. If you can send $10 million to Pakistan, you can get a poor person an ID for free. Having an identification that just says you or who you say you are should cost $0. I'm done. There's enough government handouts that they take our money and send them elsewhere that eventually comes back, obviously, to us. Our politicians. I don't want to hear it. Working in the election polls, I see people who I go, I don't remember ever seeing this person before, and I've worked here for almost 2 decades. Most of the residents I know by face, even the ones that only vote in presidential elections. I recognize many of the people, and it would really be, and when their signature doesn't really match the one in the book, but all of this is subjective. And if I brought it up, it could be a problem. Anyway, my head's spinning right now. I'm probably just going to put music between the sections and get this thing out because it's been delayed a lot. This is shocking to me that it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be shocking to me, and let me run something past you real quick. I was going to go to Washington, D.C. on January 6th, or at least I was entertaining the thought because I'd heard there was just going to be a protest in front of the ATF. And I was thinking about going. And then I was like, you know what? Protest and ATF makes no sense. I promoted sending a letter in, talking about braces and talking about 80% polymer 80s. Like protesting in front of the ATF, really, that's a long way to drive. That's money out of 2A4E or even my pocket that, nah, is not going to be as effective. But I Googled the date because I was still thinking about going. And then I saw there were going to be at least 6 different protests. There were going to be some like pro-Trump protests in the nation's capital. And I was like, I'm not going. I'm not going because the amount of foolishness that could happen. And I wasn't thinking of something like busting to the buildings. I was thinking of just idiots attacking members of the crowd, or they're attacking, because I've gotten doxxed before when I went to a NRA dinner in New York. They took pictures of my vehicle and they posted it online. So I've had stuff happen. And I just didn't want to be a part of something bigger happening in DC. So I avoided it. But dude, 2021, if you believe in your Second Amendment rights, you're going to have to do more than talk online. You're going to have to do more than share memes. In one way, I'm kind of relieved that Biden Harris administration will be in, and they're going to be attacking your Second Amendment rights nationwide. And the reason being, a lot of people that went, yeah, I would write a letter to the ATF, but, or yeah, I would donate, but, they're going to get off their ass. A lot of your YouTube channels, they won't talk about politics because we might lose followers. They might actually do something when they realize that they'll become felons if some of the laws that are proposed passed. A whole lot of people may get off their butt, finally, and feel this affects them. 2021 needs to be the time that you get politically active. I'm proud of the 70,000 people that wrote in and said, hey, ATF, get your stuff together. They wrote referring to the pistol braces. That's like 70,000 people. And as long as you don't think about there's between 80 and 100 million gun owners, that sounds like a pretty big number. There's a whole bunch of people that didn't do a damn thing. Look, we may not win this fight. I have no idea what the future holds. I know nations don't last forever. I know things are cyclical. What goes around comes around. But I do know this, regardless of how it ends, when it comes to the fight for the Second Amendment, when my fat butt checks off this mortal coil, when I walk into the light, I know I put in work.
Yeah, you did.
I know I fought for the right to keep and bear arms. For children and grandchildren of my friends to have the ability to be able to defend themselves against violent crime or tyrannical government, terminators, whatever's out there, Skynet. I just know I did my part to make sure we maintain this right. 2021 is going to make you check yourself and find out what your line in the sand is. And when you participate in the fight, 2021 is going to determine whether or not you join the resistance. Thank you for listening to the Second is for Everyone podcast. I'd like to give a shout out to all of those that have fought and are fighting for our Second Amendment right. That put in the work, that put themselves out there on social media, that donate their money and time. All those people that have supported 2A4E podcast and the work we do. Thank you for supporting the resistance. Thank you for fighting for these rights. Happy New Year. And I wish you all best of luck.
Yay! What the heck was that, Tony? All right, so that was Tony's podcast. Like I say, I think I was a victim. I was a victim of not being able to understand the thumbnails, and that's my fault. So yeah, I found Tony on YouTube, and we just listened to his podcast, which was released today. They've been working on updating the his Minuteman University project, which is a resource for advocates, with updating some of the videos from the Second Amendment Foundation's Daily Bullet Project. Every single day, they interview somebody who is 2A, and we've been distributing those on our site to help create some reciprocal links and some cross promotion there. We went live this morning to listen to Tony's podcast, and hope you had an interesting start to the week. And let's see if we can make something interesting happen at the end here. Thanks for watching.